Hey everybody, it's Sunny and Char, and I am so excited. I am over the moon to share with you that I have a new book coming out called The Universe is Calling You. And there's an amazing foreword by Rupaul. There's an endorsement by Chris Colfer. It's about understanding your intuition. It's about protecting yourself from negative energies. It's about understanding your essence and your true purpose and your soul's purpose on this earth. You can get it at barnesandnoble.com. You can get it at amazon.com. I would love for you to order the book and let me know what you think of it. Write a review for us if you feel like it. Thanks so much.
Char Margolis, Char Communications Incorporated, and CharVision LLC do not endorse or offer for any purpose but entertainment the views of any guest or other expert on CharVision or UBN.
I knew things before they happened from the time I was a child. At the age of 8, I saw a spirit at the foot of my bed and didn't know what it was. And in my 20s, I finally realized I had a special ability that could help others. I have learned that love never dies. There is a spirit world that can communicate with us, and we all have the gift of intuition. Join me, and together we will explore the possibilities of the unknown from beyond and more. This is CharVision. Hey everybody, it's Sunny and Char, and Sunny is a little angel today because I have an angel as a guest, and seriously, he's a living icon. He's a legend in his own time. I am so honored because he has done more for the LGBTQ community than anybody.
Don't forget the BLT community.
And the BLT community, which is that?
Bacon, lettuce, and tomato.
You know, he's opened doors. You have opened doors for so many people to be accepted for who they are so they can live their truth. And I'm so honored to have Rupaul here, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We've known each other for a long time.
We have.
It was 96 is when you were doing our radio show in New York City at KTU.
Yeah.
Was it 96? Yeah.
Yeah, it was WKTU. And when had you just started?
I just started there in
VH1 then?
VH1 had just started then too, but I was familiar with you from your columns in newspapers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I used to be a regular on the show, and they used to put me on, and I would take phone calls, and I would do readings like I do on CharVision often. And it means a lot to me that you guys allowed me to do that at the time. And I would love for you to tell the story about when your mom was pregnant with you.
Yeah, well, when my mother, this is back a long time ago, before there were, what are those things that where people can tell the birth, the sex of a child?
Oh.
Sonogram. There you go. This is before sonogram. My mother was pregnant with me, and a psychic told her that you were having a boy and that he would be very famous. So I grew up with that hanging over my head. Right. And trust me, there were times when I thought, oh my goodness, maybe that wasn't true. I knew in my gut it was true, but there were some rough times. You know, when I was turning 28, my Saturn Returns was a rough one. And for people who are not familiar with the Saturn Returns, it is where the placement of Saturn when it returns to the position it was in when you were born. So I liken it to when Dorothy travels all that way to get to Oz, looks behind the curtain and goes, wait a minute, you're the wizard?
Right.
You know, everything is different from what she thought it would be. And the same was true for me. I was at 28. I was sleeping on my baby sister's couch with not a dime to my name.
Oh my.
And it was rough. But I was able to pull out of that with the help of people from my tribe. My friend said, hey, get back to New York. I was out here in LA at the time. Get back to New York and get back to what you set out to do.
And what were you doing then?
Well, I started out my professional career in show business in 82. The first time I got paid for being on stage was in 82. And I was in bands, rock and roll bands in Atlanta, Georgia.
Like, were you the main singer?
Yeah. Yeah. And so but I'd done performing arts school and done plays and stuff in high school and stuff.
Right.
But professionally, it was 1982 when I got paid for it. And then I moved to New York after a few years of doing that and tried to make things happen. And I got a little traction. Then I moved out to L.A. And that's when my Saturn Returns hit.
And it was crazy, right?
It was tough. I was, in Los Angeles, no car, no money.
Oh, my.
I did the Gong Show when it had come back.
Goodness.
This is 1988. The Gong Show, which for people my age, it was a big show in the mid to late 70s. And then it came back in 88.
Right.
And I got on that show. I did not get gonged. It's a talent show. I did not get gonged, but I didn't win either.
What did you do?
I sang one of my original songs. I had an album at the time called, it was called Rupaul is Star Booty. And I had a song on there that I did on the show called Follow Me.
Uh-huh.
And I did. And the judges on my episode were Salt and Pepper and some other people. But an Elvis impersonator won over me.
Oh.
Yeah. So I did not get gonged, but I did that. I tried to get some traction, tried to make things happen. It wasn't happening.
You did everything you possibly could.
Well, I wouldn't say everything. I did what, basically I did everything I possibly could. In hindsight,
Right.
I could have focused more on and visualized more what it would look like. And also, a few years later, a huge epiphany happened where I was going to really go for it this time. And I was doing my nightclub act, and I was doing it in sort of my David Bowie androgynous look.
Okay.
And the epiphany was somebody came up to me after a show and said, that's great, Rue, but when are you going to do Star Booty again? When are you going to do drag and stuff?
Yeah.
And I realized, well, where did I get the idea I couldn't do drag? Oh, it was an idea in my head and my head only. So the epiphany was get out of my own way and listen to the universe's stage direction. And I said, oh, I'm going to do this in drag. And Char, I got to tell you, and this was amazing. It was like ancient doors opening when I had this epiphany. When I said I was going to do my career in drag, because I had always set out to, wanted to be David Bowie and do this androgyny thing. When I decided to do it in drag, it was like these ancient doors creaking open, like I'd hit the secret combination of that's what it was. What was standing in my way was an old idea that, no one's going to be.
It was predestined for you.
It was predestined for me. But I was standing in my own way.
When you were saying that, it was like I'm thinking of the Akashic records, which are the stories of all our lives, our past lives.
Yeah.
It sounds like they were, when you said creaking open, that's the visualization I got, that these big, rocks were opening up, and then you came and you became Rupaul.
Yeah. You said Akashic? What are they called?
The Akashic records are all the history of every lifetime you ever lived or I ever lived. It's all it has Akashic records. Yeah. And my sister does past life regressions, and her spirit guides have access to the Akashic records. So when she regresses someone to their past life, they see what they were in past lives. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had that experience.
No, I haven't.
But you probably, I mean, because you're such an old soul. You know that, right? You're such an old soul. And you know what I find with you, which is so interesting, when I hear you speak and I watch some of your talk show that you had, you have wisdom that's downloaded into you. And when you speak sometimes, and I think you don't even always realize that information, wisdom is coming through because you're a healer. I have come to realize that and to
be at peace with it for the most part. The tough part of that is finding playmates who can play along on that level.
Right,
you know.
right.
Because otherwise, growing up, I had to dumb down. Not that I'm some ascended master. It's just that there are certain, to put that there, here, and then we got it. What's the problem?
I see you as like one of God's secret agents.
I love that. I love that.
That's why you're here, to help people live their truth. And, I wanted to know how drag changed you and changed society since it's gone mainstream.
Yeah. People say it's mainstream, an aspect of it, the superficial aspect of it is mainstream, but the deeper level of drag is not, which the deeper level is that we're all born naked and the rest is drag. And that deeper level is an understanding that all of this facade is just temporary. This is not who you actually are. This is just a shell. It's like a costume, this body and all this stuff. So so for the deeper level to be mainstream, people would have to be able to see themselves from outside of themselves and be willing to let go of have fun with this identity that they so cherish, and they get so offended if you say something that doesn't align with their vision of themselves, you know what I mean? So the superficial aspect of drag, that's become very well known. But the first part of your question is was about what
how it's changed society and how it's changed you.
Well, drag
it has changed us. You literally have changed society with this. You understand that, right?
For my, being the old soul that I am, for my nickel, not enough. Not changed enough. I'm like, come on, guys, come on, well, just get with it.
But a lot of it has to do with society and, people in the White House and people running the country and, people's prejudices. But you've opened it up to allow this to be something that people, my great nephew's girlfriend is so excited that you're on my show today, and she's like 24.
You have a great nephew? I don't even have a good nephew.
His dad
Thanks, Elvira. That's an Elvira joke.
His dad was like 8 years old when I was born, so he's like my little brother.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you how it changed me.
Kids are going crazy because they're being more open. It's like I saw Julianne Howe say, well, she just got married and she's going, but I'm bisexual now, or I like women.
Yeah.
And it's like you're giving people permission to live their truth, to be who they are, not realizing that. I don't think you realize it.
Well, listen, I give permission. That's a tall order. You know what we've done is with our show and what we've done with this movement is we've allowed people to recognize something that's already inside of them. That's what it is, because this is not something you have to learn. This is something you have to remember, and that's true of many things. What we've done through the power of drag is remind people that there is more to you, more to them than just the physical, superficial aspects.
Right.
And that you don't have to choose column A or just column B. You don't have to choose anything. You can decide in that moment. Our world is filled with polar opposites. Black, white, night, day, boy, girl, all that stuff. But, when you think of the sun going down and it gets dark at night, that's great. But if you actually were to go further out into space, you'd see that the sun actually never goes down. It doesn't go down. We actually, we're spinning around.
Wow.
And that there is no night or day.
Wow.
If you look far enough away, are you with me on this?
Yeah.
And that you would realize that those polar opposites, boy, girl, everything is actually everything. Everything is everything. If you stand far enough back.
I agree. And I write about this, that we're really all part of the same energy.
Absolutely.
We're all really one.
That we are one thing.
And I feel life is a school and we're here to learn lessons. So they make some of us black and some of us white and some of us female and some male and some not sure what
Sure.
their genders. And there's
Yeah.
like, what, 60 different genders now that people can be? And I think you're 100% right. But you're also in doing the drag and making it like entertainment. It's like infiltrating freedom to people.
Yeah.
You're infiltrating.
I love it. Listen, I've said this many times. I don't do this because I want to change the world. I do this to entertain myself. And
Right.
if other people can get something from it, yay, right on, lady, go for
Right.
it.
Right.
But I don't, I didn't come here. I got to entertain myself. I'm going to say this. I'm going to put it on record.
Okay.
I'm smart. I'm
You are.
smart.
You're smart.
And
You are.
for a sweet, sensitive soul who's also smart, you gotta somehow entertain yourself.
You do.
And drag has entertained me. It tickled me. This morning on the phone, I was talking to someone, and they told me a portmanteau. A portmanteau is two words that are smashed together. Like a spork is a spoon and a fork.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a portmanteau.
Okay.
Like think Natalie Portman toe.
Okay,
Think
right.
Natalie Portman's toe.
Right.
Her big toe. And so he said to me, he talked about Britney Spears, and he's a big fan, and he was worried that whenever she's a brunette,
Right.
We have to worry a little bit. And he says whenever it's Britney, I'm trying to put the two words together. Brunette. I'm trying to put it together. I can't specifically do it because it's a portmanteau. It's mixed together. But brunette-ny or something like that. It was funny. But it tickled me so much because my brain needs entertainment. It needs that
Right.
extra smart element
Right.
that goes, oh, this is fun. And drag does that for me. Music
Right.
does that for me. Games. I love charades. I love all that stuff. So for me in my career, drag has entertained me. It has kept me somewhat sane. And because for a high functioning, smart, sweet, sensitive soul,
Right.
I need a little something extra to get through this
to
life.
entertain your life because
That's
you
right.
get bored easily.
I get bored
I
real
get
easily.
bored easily too.
Yeah.
They lose me at dinner parties sometimes, which I understand you do dinner parties.
Sometimes I do. I haven't done it in recent years just because I'm in bed by 8:30.
Oh,
You know what, Char?
me too.
Do you know what the other? I just got back from New York the other day, and when I went to bed at 6:30 in the evening.
You need to do that.
I went to bed at 6:30. The next day, I went to bed at 7. And then last night, I think I went back on schedule. I went to bed at 9. But usually, I'm in bed like 8:30, something like
So
that.
what else makes you happy? Sleep? Makes you happy?
No, I don't need a lot of sleep. I woke up this morning at 1:30
Oh,
because
wow.
I had to call Europe to make some plans because we're going there for blah blah blah. But
Wait. You're doing DragCon in England,
in
right?
England, yes,
That's
we're doing DragCon.
so exciting.
DragCon, and we have Drag Race UK, which starts up October 3rd, 2019.
So exciting.
Yeah, so we're doing all that. But George and I are going to go over there. I'm working, but
And
we're-
George is
George is my husband.
your husband.
And we're going to go over there and have a little vacation time also. So I was making arrangements
What's
with
your
the hotel.
relationship like with George?
He's my favorite person I've ever met on this planet.
Yeah?
My favorite person. And
My goodness.
he tickles me, and he is a lovely, lovely, kind person. And he has an artist's brain. So he thinks outside the box, and we are so compatible.
Wow.
He doesn't have to. There's not, and I'm a skeptic. I'm Scorpio. I'm a skeptic.
Oh, you're Scorpio.
Yeah. There's not one bone in my body that would think that he doesn't love me. Everything I feel his love for me.
You're soulmates.
Yeah,
You're
he's
truly
great.
soulmates.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
We met on the dance floor at Limelight Disco in New York City.
How long ago was that?
In '94. I was there with a friend, and I looked out on the dance floor, and I saw this. He's 6'7" in stocking feet, but
How tall are you?
I'm 6'4". Yeah.
My goodness.
And he had on he had on these huge platforms. So he was even taller and dancing like a maniac. So I went over to him on the dance floor and I said, "What are you doing?" What? I said, "Can I put my arms around," because I never get to sort of put my arms around someone taller than me. So I said,
I
"Can
never
I
thought of that."
Yeah. So I said, "Can I put my arms around you and give you a hug?" He said, "Sure." And then he lifted me up. I put my arms around his neck, and then he put his arms around my waist, and he lifted me up. I've never had that sensation before. And that was it. Yeah. And that was 94.
And did you just start calling each other every day?
Well,
or?
from that night, we went out. We left there and went to get something to eat at Florent in the West Village, which is actually near where we live now. We've had this place in the West Village for 25 years.
Oh, how nice!
Yeah, and
it's like a neighborhood, isn't it?
Oh, it's lovely. It's because the West Village in New York is off the grid because most of the city is on a grid, blocks and blocks. But because it's the oldest part of the city, on the west of 8th, actually west of 7th Avenue, it's all off the grid. It's all it's a different configuration.
So what would you guys do on a Sunday morning?
Well, on this past Sunday morning, we were there. I got up because I get up early.
Right.
I love Sunday mornings in New York.
I love Sunday
Usually
mornings,
we will get on the bicycles and ride around because there's no traffic.
Okay, so you have bicycles there.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
And then
and it's safe.
And it's very safe because there's no one on the street.
Right.
So we're talking 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun's
Amazing.
coming up. Yeah. So first of all, I'll get on my Starbucks app and go get the oatmeal and quad lattes. And bring them back, and then we'll go for a bike ride. We'll lay in bed and just, hold each other.
Aww.
And what did we do this
After
Sunday?
how many years is this? 25 years?
It's actually we met in January of 94. So I don't know math.
Okay,
but that was a long time
It's
ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so and we got the apartment. Actually, we got the apartment in January of 95. I remember because I just signed a contract with MAC Cosmetics.
Wow.
And that's what I did with my my advance. And I bought an apartment.
Aww.
So anyway, George is lovely and he has a ranch in Wyoming. He's Australian.
Oh, he's Australian.
Yeah.
Do you have horses?
No, let me explain to everyone out there what a modern ranch is today.
Okay.
And because we all have a different idea of it because of movies and westerns and
Right.
probably the TV show Bonanza.
Right.
But every time I mention that he has a ranch in Wyoming,
Right.
when someone comes back to me and says, "So how's George with the ranch in Montana?" I swear, without fail, everyone says Montana, even though
It's Wyoming.
It's Wyoming, and I think that's because of movies and television also.
I think you're probably right.
I'm
'Cause
telling you-
people have a stereotype.
Yeah, without fail, it's wild and uncanny. They always say Montana. Anyway, this ranch, which is 60,000 acres, when I did
60,000 acres?
60,000 acres. I did an interview with Oprah, Where Are They Now, several years ago.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, yes, well, my husband has a 50-acre ranch in Wyoming. Well, George had you have to,
I don't know what I'm
that's
doing
that
wrong.
part right there, yes. Yeah.
It's not.
Oh, I see. You've twisted your
I don't know what I
microphone.
did.
Here, let
I
me
just-
help.
Thank
I know
you.
how to do this.
Rupaul
Yeah.
is now my technician.
Yeah.
He's fixing. Please stand by.
That's the there
Okay,
you go.
thank you, sweetie. Okay, thank you.
I mistakenly said George had a 50-acre ranch, but it's actually 60,000 acres.
60,000 acres.
Math and numbers not
so
my
what
strong
kind of
suit.
wild animals are on a property like that? 'Cause I'm very into nature. 'Cause-
all of them are there.
So there's deer.
Is there, antelope, everything.
Antelope.
raptors,
Wow.
you name it. The dogs got in a scuttle with a porcupine 2 weeks ago.
Oh no,
So
are they okay?
Well, yeah, one of them got into the scuttle and had to go to the vet and be anesthetized to have the porcupine needles taken out.
Oh, that's horrible.
Because it was in her nose.
Oh, I'm so sad.
Anyway, so but a modern ranch is land management. It's not like
Right.
Bonanza. It's land management. So he sells water to the oil companies. He leases the mineral rights to the oil
Wow.
companies.
Wow.
He leases pastures for ranchers for their cattle to graze on the land. And because Wyoming is very old-fashioned and Republican and all that, wind farms have had a hard time getting started there.
Right. Are they doing wind farms?
There is a company doing them in, I think it's in Laramie, but he hasn't been able to get it done on his property yet.
And do you have wells?
There are
You
wells.
you have artesian wells and like fresh, amazing water.
Fresh, amazing water, and he sells that. So
See, I think that is going to be the most needed commodity in the future.
Yeah.
It's not oil. It's going to be water.
We need water.
We need
all
water,
it.
so he better hang on to that place.
Yeah, well, he inherited it from his father was American, his mother Australian. He was born in Australia, and he's had the ranch for 10 years.
Do you have in-laws?
I do have in-laws. Yes, yeah, and they're all in Australia.
And do you like them?
I do like them. I do. They're wonderful. In fact, when I do an Australian accent, I'm doing George's sister.
Oh, that's good.
Her name is Chicky, and she speaks like this.
Uh-huh.
And that's so I can't do a man's Australian accent. I can only do Chiquita.
And where in Australia?
Perth, Australia. It's the most
Oh,
remote,
I've been there. I've been there.
The most remote city in the world.
It's beautiful. I
beautiful.
love Perth.
I love Perth. It's great. Now George, of course, has a different opinion of Perth,
Oh,
but
because he grew up
yeah,
there.
he grew up there. But it's funny. I'm from San Diego, born and raised, and Perth and San Diego are pretty much the same city.
Right?
Yeah, they're so similar. The way they look, even just
Right.
values.
That's okay. So you have a sister-in-law, and do you have a mother-in-law?
Yes, mother-in-law. George has. He had. There were 6 of them.
Yeah.
One of the sisters has gone on, but he's got several sisters still with us and a brother, and he's absolutely lovely. He left there when he was 17 to go to Paris, to go to fashion school, and then when I met him in New York, he was at FIT.
It sounds so beautiful because it sounds like you are like you're together, but you also have your freedom to be who you are in your lives.
Yeah.
And you support each other.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a gift.
It is a gift, and I never take it for granted. Absolutely. Listen, we've had our ups and downs.
Right.
We have had
After
our
all,
ups and
since
downs.
1994.
Yeah.
But did you go to therapy to work it out together?
We have before. We got sober together, which was a huge part of our story, and we split up for a while. We've had our.
Oh no.
We have, yeah, we've done it
Oh
all.
my goodness, that must have been heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking, but you know what? Still couldn't shake him. Could not shake him.
No?
Even when we were apart, we spoke every day. Yeah.
Oh, that's really
Isn't that
adorable.
crazy? It's crazy.
Wait, what sign is he?
He's Aquarius.
Oh, okay.
We actually met on his birthday on January 24th.
You were his gift.
Yeah. And we got married on his birthday.
Aww.
We got married just a few years ago.
Where?
In our house here in LA.
Who officiated the wedding?
Alicia, from our television.
Yeah.
She did it.
How beautiful.
So it was Alicia and her husband Ed, who's worked at World of Wonder. Ed has been there the longest, I believe. Ed has been at World of Wonder for maybe 24, 25 years, maybe.
Wow.
And then and their little girl, Brianna, was it was just the five of us in our living room.
Oh, that's so special.
Yeah, and George and I wore our pajamas.
Okay, that is adorable. Do you have photos?
I don't think we do. Do.
No photos.
It was very, very informal. In fact, George and I went down to the courthouse and got the papers, and then we had the ceremony. But I think for anybody who's out there who's thinking of getting married, the key to that is to have a small ceremony on one day, and then have a reception on another day. I think putting both of those ceremonies together, the reception and the ceremony, the wedding, is too much, and it costs too much money. And also, if you have to move from one place to the next, I say have a small wedding of just a handful of family and friends, in your house, in your backyard, and then plan another day for a big party to invite everyone.
So you were in your pajamas.
Yeah.
Then you kicked everybody out, and you had your honeymoon.
Yes. Well, the honeymoon's been going on for many years, but we didn't really have to kick them out because there's only three of them, 2 adults and a child. So they just went home.
So sweet. And was George at Studio 54? Because I know you were at Studio 54.
Well, no, I was at Studio 54 way after the fact.
Okay.
When it reopened in the 80s or something like that.
Okay.
Because we had a party at KTU at Studio 54. This is in the 90s, yeah.
Right.
But I came to New York the first time in 82 with my band from Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
And then I moved to New York in 84 and stayed there for about 6 months before the city spit me back out, and I went back to Atlanta.
Right.
And I came back to New York in November of 87. And I've been there ever since.
And did you know Andy Warhol and all those people?
No, I would see him at a party. I'd see him at parties, but I never officially met him or anything. But, all of the kids who had come to New York, like myself, we all came to New York because we grew up reading Interview magazine, and because of the Warhol superstars who had come to New York, changed their names, and created an identity, a life for themselves that wasn't the small town kid from wherever.
Right.
And we all moved there because of him and David Bowie. Those were the two things. Andy Warhol and David Bowie. Those were the things that propelled all of us kids my age. I'm going to be 59 in November.
You look fabulous, darling.
Thank you.
You really look fabulous.
Thank you.
He really does.
Well, all of the people my age, we came to New York. We missed the Studio 54, but we read about it, and that's why we came to New York.
Okay.
Yeah. And
now,
so...
Wow. I mean, that's history.
It is.
That's
really
history.
is.
You're part of history.
Yeah.
And you've taken all that knowledge, and what gave you the idea to do Drag Race?
Well, Drag Race, my friends who I met in the East Village, we're all the same age. Randy and Fenton, who run World of Wonder.
Yes, I work with them.
Yes. Well, I met them in 1985 at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. There was a festival, a seminar called the New Music Seminar. Is that what it's called? New Music Seminar. Yeah, New Music Seminar. And I met them, and this was held yearly at the Marriott Marquis in Times Square. So I met them there, and when I met Randy, Fenton I met later, but Randy was there, and he looked at me in the eyes, and I could see reflected back in his eyes everything that I could be in that moment.
Okay, so there was a mirrored soul.
Yes.
Like a soulmate in a way.
That's right. Everything I could be, everything I am today, all the things you just talked about, I could see reflected back in his eyes. And I had never experienced that before.
In that moment.
He saw it. He saw it. He saw it, and I was taken aback, and I thought, follow this guy.
Right?
Don't let this one go. He could see it, and to this, I remember the look in his eye. He still gives me that look today, by the way.
He does?
Yes. And a year later, they produced an album on me, that one called Rupaul is Star Booty.
Right.
And then we remained friends. And in 91, after I came back to, I'd come back to New York. I remember I was in 88, I was in LA sleeping on my sister's couch. At Christmas time of 88, I was at my mother's house, and I was depressed. I needed a breather. In January of 89, Larry T, another one of my tribe members, and I talk about my finding your tribe all the time.
You do talk about it,
Absolutely.
and you have found your tribe.
I have found
You've chosen
my tribe.
your family.
That's right. And so Larry T called me up from New York in San Diego, and he said, "What are you doing? Get your ass back here to New York. I will buy you a ticket. You will pay me back in a week, one go-go gig," because I used to go-go dance on the bar at the Pyramid Club in New York.
Oh my goodness. Was that exhausting?
No, it was fun. It was so much fun. Now I get energy from dancing.
Well, you can dance.
I love it. So he paid for a ticket. I went back to New York. I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to New York. I'm going to let these bitches have it. So I decided I'm going to give them drag. They want drag.
Right.
I'm going to give them drag.
Right.
I got back to New York in January, and by September of 89, I was crowned the Queen of Manhattan.
Amazing.
This was in what, 9 months, 7 months? I don't know.
Amazing.
So by the end, my reign as the Queen of Manhattan ended in September of 1990. This was an annual thing that they would do, the clubs and stuff.
Right.
So by the 1990, I thought, you know what? I'm going to go for it in a bigger way. So we're September 1990.
Yeah.
By December, I decided, I'm going to quit doing chemicals. I'm going to quit drinking. I'm going to only smoke weed, and I'm going to focus on my career. So I went to Randy and Fenton in January of 91, and they were just starting up World of Wonder.
Oh.
And they said, well, why don't we manage you? I said, let's do it. So
amazing.
I took this is January of 91. I took that year to work on a demo tape and to get myself together. So by March of 92, this is a year later, I got a record deal, a big record deal.
So you just cold turkey stopped doing drugs.
Well, I mean, I smoked weed, but I stopped doing chemicals.
Yeah, but I mean chemicals.
Yeah, because I was doing...
How did you survive that?
Well,
Well, you are protected. You do have guardian angels.
I know
you
I
have
am.
Spirit guides because you maybe shouldn't have survived all that.
Child, you ain't never lied. I definitely did. The amount of cars I've gotten into of people who I do not know.
Oh,
the amount of
my
times
goodness.
I was in a club and somebody said, "Open your mouth," and put a pill or something
Oh,
in my mouth, and I
no.
said, "Okay, let's party."
Oh, no.
And then it's saying, "By the way, what was that?" The amount of times I've done that, you have no idea.
I have no idea.
Yep. So I quit doing chemicals. I continued to smoke weed, which was still a problem, but I was focused on my career in a way that in a way that I know how to. I'm very
You were hyper
ambitious.
focused. You were
I'm very
hyper focused
yes.
about it. But I can just imagine your guardian angels and spirit guides scattering, going, "Wait, close his mouth! Don't have them take that pill."
Right.
They had their hands full with you.
They certainly did. How many
I think they still do, by the way.
Oh, they certainly do. You know what? I have been pulled over drunk driving so many times back then as a kid in my 20s. And once I was working as a go-go dancer at a club in Atlanta called Weekends. I was actually the only go-go dancer at this club. So I got to work, and the DJ said, "Oh, I've got some acid." Because all through my 20s, I would drop acid at least once a week.
Oh, my.
And it was early in the night, so it was like 7, actually 8 o'clock. It was still light outside, so we said, let's go out back of the club. He put a long record on. Let's go out back, smoke a joint, and drop some acid. Fine. So while we were smoking the joint, the cops rolled up and said, drop it. Had put us in the back.
No.
The record's still going in the disco, by the way. Put us in the back of the car. And then this other guy drives up, and he's an off-duty cop on the payroll of the club. And he said, these guys are fine. They're okay. Let them go.
Oh, my.
But the cop said, well, I've already started the process. So after your shift tonight, you guys are going to have to go downtown.
Oh, no.
And see, and we've written a citation. We had to go.
Did you have to go to jail?
We did not go. I've never been to jail in my life, knock wood, thank God.
Thank God.
Thank God.
We're never going to let you do that.
I'm never going to go to jail.
Never.
No.
Never.
So anyway, we finished our shift. I'm tripping my brains out on acid. We both went downtown. We took the MARTA train downtown. We had to fill out some papers or something, but they ended up letting us go, and nothing ever came of that. So I've never been arrested, but I've come very, very, very close.
You have.
Very close. But guardian angels, absolutely.
Well, you know, it kind of reminds me of those stories you hear of somebody said, like, something took over the wheel and turned the wheels,
Yes.
so it saved them from being in a car accident.
Or lifted
the car
you up from
yeah.
Yeah.
You have miracles. You have miracles.
Absolutely.
So you're so happy, aren't you?
I am right now.
What makes you happy?
Laughter, music, creativity. I love sitting at a table with the people I collaborate with. And coming up with something. Earlier, you asked me about how did Drag Race happen.
Yeah.
Randy and Fenton
that's
had
right.
been after me for years to do a reality show. And I thought, no, because I didn't want to do anything mean-spirited. And so fast forward to 2000, actually 1999, when I got sober, I stepped away from the business. I worked, but I stepped away. I wasn't ambitious about my career as much as I was about being sober and finding my footing again and getting into sobriety. So from 1999 to all of 2003,
Wow.
I was focused on home. So I would have barbecues and parties with no alcohol and just get to know my nieces and nephews and all that.
Oh, that's so nice.
It was very nice. So by 2004, I was hungry again. I felt great. And I went back to work for Frankie Blue at a news station.
My goodness.
And he hired both Michelle Visage and I to come and be at his news station.
Where was that?
In New York. I was in L.A.
What call letters?
WNEW.
Oh, WNEW.
Yes. And so Michelle and I went back there, but after about 3 months, he got fired.
Oh.
So I decided to do this gig because I made a new record. I was ready to come back. And after Frankie Blue got fired, I decided, you know what? I don't want to be there with the new management. Michelle stayed. I left. I decided, you know what? Randy said, well, why don't you do a new Star Booty movie?
Oh.
Star Booty keeps coming up again and again and again. It's a constant. And I thought that's a great idea. And I've always used Randy. Randy's the one who I could see my future in his eyes.
Right.
I've always used him.
Such a nice man.
He's a lovely man. So sweet, so sensitive, and smart.
Right.
I've used both Randy and Fenton. As that mirror image that you were talking about. I equate it to, is it Perseus in Clash of the Titans? I may have the name right or wrong, I don't know. But he goes to slay, take the head of Medusa. But if you look at Medusa in the eyes, you'll turn to stone.
Right.
So he realizes that his shield is reflective. So he uses his shield to not look at her directly, but to use the shield, the reflection, to cut her head off. So, and he succeeds. So I have used Randy as a reflection ever since the Marriott Marquis. I listen closely to what he says, and he can see me. There's only one of us here. He can see me from outside. I could see myself through Randy's eyes.
And who found Tom Campbell to work with you?
Tom Campbell, we met. They've always known him.
Tom Campbell is a producer of Drag Race.
In fact, the concept of Drag Race was his.
It was his.
Yes.
He's a genius.
He's a genius.
Reading Queens with Char Margolis was his idea. Okay, so Tom Campbell is in your ear
Yeah.
all the time,
The whole time.
on Drag Race, right?
On Drag Race. I don't read a teleprompter. I have an earbud that transmits his voice into my ear. So the way I'm talking right now, he could be reading it to me, and it sounds just like what.
But you're very good at interpreting it.
I'm very good.
It's
I've tried
amazing.
I've tried with other people, and I've done it with other people, but no one is as good with it because we are simpatico.
He's a genius.
He's a genius.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the guy, he used to be an executive at ABC. That's when I met him.
Yes. Well, when I met him, I think he was an executive at MTV or something. This is like 300 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So after I did the Star Booty movie, Randy and Fenton thought, okay, he's serious about coming back.
Yes.
Because I wrote and produced the Star Booty movie. He's serious about coming back. And then they reapproached me about a reality show. And I said, yeah, I'm ready. As long as it's not mean-spirited.
How many years ago was that?
That was, Star Booty came out in 2007, and at the end of 2007. And then we went out pitching Drag Race at the beginning of 2008. Because we started filming it on Labor Day of 2008, and it started airing in January or February of 2009. And we just finished filming our 12th season of that show.
12. Oh, by the way, congratulations. You're up for 14 Emmys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mazel tov.
Thank you.
That's incredible.
Yes. It is incredible.
I mean,
very incredible.
So exciting. When does that come out? When do those?
Well, tomorrow are the creative arts Emmys tomorrow. And then the following week, next Sunday or something, those are the primetime Emmys. So we're in both of those events. So tomorrow I'll go.
So if you could give advice to the kids out there who are living in, there's so many unhappy people.
Yeah.
What advice can you give them? Because you were down in the dumps at one time.
Oh, yeah. What time is it? I could be down in the dumps this afternoon.
No, we're not letting you.
Well, no, I'm not right now, but I'm living in this moment. But, I'm a sweet, sensitive soul, and that is the price we pay.
He really is. I'm telling you, this man truly is a sweet, sensitive soul.
Yeah, well, it's,
and I'm honored that you're here because I know you don't like to do a lot of these interviews. So what kind of advice can you give to somebody who's maybe having a hard time?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. First, advice, hard time or no hard time, you have to know thyself. Now, I didn't come up with this stuff. I didn't come up with any of this stuff. What I'm doing is I'm remembering what the ascended masters, what the people who have lived before, what they've done, and I'm following their path. So first, know thyself. And that entails realizing that you are an extension of the power that created this universe.
Right.
And in this body, you're a very fragile little baby.
Right.
And
yeah,
it's important for you to understand that you are fragile, you have a sweet, beautiful heart, but there's another part of you that is also part of the universe, the part that created this universe. Now, I just want to quickly, go into this thing. I had a major breakthrough recently.
Okay.
And it wasn't,
I'd love to hear it.
And it's something I already knew. It's something I had to remember. Okay. I spent 6 months across the street over there at Warner Brothers. We are literally across the street from Warner Brother Burbank Studios. And I was filming with Michael Patrick King, whose birthday it is tomorrow, by the way.
Oh, thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
And can you talk about that?
I will, yeah.
Yeah, what's your project?
Yeah. It's called AJ and the Queen. And my agent said, well, Rue, you're in a place where you could call any writer and write with them. Who do you want to write with? I said, Michael Patrick King.
Yeah.
We met, and it was a marriage made in heaven, literally.
I believe it.
Yeah. And so we put this project together called AJ and the Queen. And after we filmed it, 6 months of filming, someone asked me, well, what did you learn? What was it like filming with this 10-year-old kid?
Is this the epiphany that you're telling me about?
Okay. What was it like? I said, well, it was like being able to reparent my 10-year-old self.
Oh.
And I thought, oh my goodness, did I create a situation to reparent my 10-year-old? I absolutely did. And in doing that, I have created and beautified and solidified this relationship with my 10-year-old. Because after we finished filming for 6 months, I could still feel Izzy G, the kid. I could feel her right. In fact,
Her energy.
Her energy. Because we were side by side the whole time, like Siamese twins. The whole time, we're in every scene together, and we love each other. So
exciting.
after I left the set, I could still feel her presence there. And now when I feel it, I think of my 10-year-old kid, who, by the way, I was 10 years old when I started smoking weed and started doing drugs and all that stuff. And I've got to say, and I've been sober for 20 years, those drugs, they saved my life. It saved my life. Okay, the last 10 years of it, not so much. But, because I used for 29 years. So in doing this show, this series for Netflix, it's called AJ and the Queen, I could feel my 10-year-old next to me. And my 10-year-old, throughout my life, had always been looking for, I had been looking for people to parent my 10-year-old.
Right.
But I realized in doing the show, the only person my 10-year-old wanted to parent me was me. The only person. Now, I wanted my father to do it. I wanted my mother to do it. They couldn't do it.
No.
I wanted relationships to do it, other people, life, whoever. In reigniting my relationship with my 10-year-old, my 10-year-old said, no, Ru, I want you. I want you. That was major for me. And so it let other people off the hook, because other people could sense, you want me to look after a 10-year-old?
Right.
I don't want to look after a 10-year-old. It's too tall an order.
Right.
Meanwhile, this was a major breakthrough for me. Now, when you hear it, it's like, well, of course, Ru, it wasn't something I had to learn. It was something I had to remember. So when you ask about advice for young people who are out there, knowing thyself and knowing all parts of yourself, knowing that child who is right there with you,
right?
It's right there.
Right.
You have to create a relationship. You have to reignite a relationship with that child and take care of that child. Because if I was literally, and during the filming of this thing, I felt very protective of this kid. She, Izzy, her parents were on the set all the time. She had a teacher. She had both her parents. It was great. But I was very, very protective because I love this kid. When you see this kid on camera, oh my goodness.
So really your advice to people is what you always say. If you can't
love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else?
Yes.
That's right.
I wanted him to say that on the show.
That is absolutely right.
I can't.
Because you can't give them something you ain't got.
Right.
You can't give away something you ain't got.
I cannot thank you enough for being here. I know you're not crazy about doing interviews. I appreciate you trusting me. It's going to be a surprise, but Ru wrote the foreword to my new book that's going to be coming out. It's called what is it called?
The Universe is Calling You.
Thank you. And I'm so honored that you have allowed me to be part of your tribe.
I love you so much.
I love you too.
Kindred spirits.
Yeah, he's going to make me cry. You do.
Crying ain't nothing wrong with crying.
And then I'm sitting here thinking, am I supposed to call you he or she?
You can call me whatever you want.
It doesn't matter,
It doesn't matter. No, everything is everything.
Well, I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to you for everything that you do for everybody else and the healing work that you do. And I put you in my prayers this morning. I will keep you in my prayers.
Good. And me yours.
Thank
and
you.
Yours mine, or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being
you.
here. And when does the Netflix show come out?
They haven't said yet.
Okay.
I know, but I can't say on broadcast.
Okay. Well, you guys watch for it. It's called
AJ and the Queen.
AJ and the Queen.
Yeah.
And so all my Char visionaries, thank you so much for watching and listening. And you know that I love you, and I'm so grateful to you. And I'm keeping all of you guys in my prayers too. God bless you. Be well. And remember, intuition will take you places logic never could.
That's right.
Bye-bye. Hey everybody, it's Sunny and Char, and I am so excited. I am over the moon to share with you that I have a new book coming out called The Universe is Calling You. And there's an amazing foreword by Rupaul. There's an endorsement by Chris Colfer. It's about understanding your intuition. It's about protecting yourself from negative energies. It's about understanding your essence and your true purpose and your soul's purpose on this earth. You can get it at barnesandnoble.com. You can get it at amazon.com. I would love for you to order the book and let me know what you think of it. Write a review for us if you feel like it. Thanks so much.